Hey, yo, welcome to my channel. It's what I've always been afraid of, basically. Um, it's to a point where, actually, wait, hold on. It's to a point where, quite honestly, with the Knicks, when they made that trade, how much of a disruption it was going to be? Because let's be honest, the Cat Williams, Carl Anthony Towns, um, Townsend trade was on paper good. On paper, it was good. But you had a Knicks team that was gelling and meshing really well at that point, where you had Hart, you had DiVincenzo, Randall was there in that from that perspective, as from that aspect as well too, and then we got Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Those were all coming to play at that point, and I think Randall was starting to understand his role. It seemed, I mean, I was saying that, and Randall, from a playoff perspective, he wasn't that great because let's be honest, in the playoffs, not so great. But he brought him up to that respectability, and I thought he would keep the Knicks in play, in check during the regular season because if he fails, you have the other team members at that point. But looking at it from an aspect of how Cat with Brunson, OG Ananobi, and well, OG Ananobi as well as Bridges, it's not because look, Bridges, yes, he was part of the Villanova Wildcats. He was part of the Nova Cats, basically. So you had Brunson, Bridges, Hart, and if Vincenzo was still there, it would have been pretty much practically the starting for Nova Cats at that point. The only problem with that though is there would be an odd man out. Who would be the odd man out? Chances are it would have been Randall. And I don't think Randall would have taken too well. And I think the Knicks recognized that by the fact that Mikhail was coming in. I mean, yeah, Bridges was coming in. They had to do something with Randall. And I don't think one of them was going to be willing to sit down. OG Ananobi, I don't think he was willing to sit down as well, too, quite honestly. So, and the fact that Mitch Robinson, as good of a defender and rebounder as he is, problem is he's injury prone. He's not a reliable center. From a perspective, not from a performance perspective, but for more of a reliability aspect of being available. So it made sense, for the Knicks to, yeah, okay, you know what, we're gonna have to trade for a center because Randall is not a center. He never will be. Cat sort of is, and I mean, let's be honest. Cat's putting up numbers. He's definitely putting up the numbers. It's just that the way the Knicks are losing, it's a little surprising. And I think they might be taking for granted the team that they are, and they're taking it for granted. I'm hoping things turn around in the next couple of weeks where they start realizing, like, you know what, we're much better than this. I mean, honestly, there's got to be a team meeting. There's got to be a team meeting about this because this, if they keep playing the way they're playing, they're not. They're going to barely make the playoffs, quite honestly. So I think they've got to work this out and figure out exactly how to start playing well together. I mean, this is a situation where we might see another trade down the line. Rose might make another trade. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. Um, I mean, Deuce McBride. I mean, honestly, he's becoming streaky now, and I think it's more of a case of like maybe he's not your sixth man out of the bench. That's going to have to be a Josh Hart. He's definitely got to be your sixth man at that point. But this is a case where if the Knicks don't shape up, it's going to be a disappointing season. Put it this way: if they don't get to the conference finals, the Knicks have to get to the conference finals. This team is geared to go towards the conference finals. If they don't make the conference finals, it's a big disappointment. and I hate to say this, but as I said in the past, the Knicks should have traded for Donovan Mitchell. I mean, look what's going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Look what's going on. Mitchell and Brunson together. I mean, who knows where they would be at right now? And I mean, granted, yeah. I mean, RJ Barrett. I hate to say this, but like, he's not living up to expectations. I mean, as good as he is, he's not living up to expectations. He's not a super. He's not at that superstar level. He's not. He's never going to get to the tier one. He's a tier two type of guy, lower tier two guy until he steps up. He's not going to be a Zion Williamson, unfortunately, and we're seeing that. And I think Toronto's realizing, like, you know what, they might have got. I don't think they got shafted, but I think they realize they need to get a star role player, a star player in place because Barrett is basically a role player, and maybe they bring him back into they trade him down to the Pelicans and get some draft picks because I mean him and Zion maybe they make mesh together at that point. I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but Zion Williamson will not come to the Knicks. Let's be honest about that. Forget about it. He's not coming to the Knicks. He's probably going to go either to Miami or to LA. One of those two teams. He's not coming to the Knicks, unfortunately. The Knicks are not going to get him. Would he go to the Brooklyn Nets? Highly doubtful. The Nets are definitely in a rebuilding mode. But the question comes down to is this. Can the Knicks sustain with the current roster and get to the finals? At the rate that they're playing right now, no. Should they disrupt the team and maybe trade Josh Hart and or and McBride to get at that other superstar to help him out? It'd be great if we see that, but that's not going to happen. It was surprising to see that, Minnesota, when they traded Cat, you had Anthony Edwards. These were the 1-2 punch, but they probably were seeing something and recognizing something. It's like, let's get rid of him before, things go awry. Because we could definitely build around Edwards. Like the way they built around Jordan with the Bulls, they might have to build around him basically at this point. So the Knicks, I don't know who the Knicks build around though. Because, like I said, and I've been saying this last year, and for the past 2 years basically, Brunson, to me right now, even though everyone would love to have him, I want to keep him. No, don't get me wrong. I want to keep him. But he's not that tier one superstar yet. He's not that tier one. He's getting there. He's probably a tier 1A, but not a tier 1. Why? Because he can't get the Knicks past the second round. If he were to get the Knicks into the conference finals, it would have been a different story. But he didn't. And you could say it's like, oh, well, you have to have a star. He had a bunch of players, but the problem was like when Jordan was short in the playoffs, he still kept the Bulls in play basically to go as far as they could. Without Scotty, they were still able to go far. Now, granted, yeah, without Scotty, without Rodman, without Kukoc and such, if they were down, would Jordan been able to have advanced that far? Probably not, because we saw what happened with the Bulls and the Magic when Michael came back. Granted, Michael did come back and he was like a rusty, but Grant on the Magic showed that the Bulls had to go out and get someone, which hence they got Rodman. But in any case, this is a case where I think if Brunson can step up, I mean, he's trying to step up. Let's be honest, he is trying to step up. He's trying to be that number one guy, the tier one person. Should he be it versus Cat? I don't know, because Karl Anthony Towns is that superstar level. I think he probably should be the number one guy to go-to guy, and then Brunson. But only time will tell in the season, basically. Time will tell with the season. I'm hoping they mesh that they can get to the conference finals. It'd be great if they could, but again, time will only tell. Let's put it this way. If the Knicks aren't in second place in the East, or at least in third, overall in the East, and they're not second in the Atlantic Division, by Christmas, it's going to be a little worrisome for the rest of the season. I mean, yeah, last year what happened when they got OG Ananobi, they went on that run. That was an amazing run, and until until what's his name, Randall got injured, but they were still in it at that point. Um, and then when OG came back at that point as well too, they went up there. They were like went up there. So um, unless the Knicks can find some diamond in the roughs in the drafts, which they lost some draft picks of course, but if they can find some, that'd be great. But um, like I said, it would be great if the Knicks can find some players, more role players. But my fear is what's going to happen. Tibbs is probably gonna overwork these guys. Let's be honest. Tibbs had Cat in the past. I think he's gonna overwork him again. And by the point of playoff time, Cat's gonna be tired out, and it's gonna have to be Brunson that's gonna pick up everything. And I don't, like I said, until Brunson proves me otherwise, he's still gonna be that tier 1A. Prove me wrong, but the numbers show otherwise. That he has to get to that level. Um, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.